Let's begin by drawing an important distinction between faith and trust. They're both predictive models, mental constructs we use to guide our choices. The difference is that faith doesn't require a basis. In fact, faith, at least as some of my conservative compadres understand it, is supposed to persevere even in the face of overwhelming evidence against the faith's validity. Trust is different. Trust is built on repeated verification over time, and it can be destroyed by evidence. Example: I have no faith in auto mechanics. I might, however, trust a mechanic who's done good work for me in the past. In that case, I have a good reason to bestow my trust, and it will last only as long as he continues to deliver. Likewise, I have no faith in science. I do, however, have a lot of trust in science because of a stunning record of achievement that has made my nation stronger and my life better. Obviously, trusting science is a little different than trusting a mechanic. If a mechanic doesn't do his job well, you know because your car doesn't work. But what if a scientist tells you that dumping some chemical into the water is going to affect some species and that will ripple out through the environment and cause problems? How do you know if you can trust him? Luckily, humanity figured out the answer to that question a long time ago. First level of trust is cocktail party trust. If you meet someone at a party who's an expert in some field, you're probably going to trust whatever they tell you about that field, unless he's an obvious wacko. For example, if a physicist tells me that a particular atom will emit photons of a particular frequency if excited by a particular energy source, I'm probably going to believe him. But what if that scientist tells me to change my diet, or he wants my vote on a bill to fund his research? In that case, I need a second opinion, and that brings us to the next level of trust. Ever since humanity invented specialized labor, we've faced questions that we aren't qualified to answer. You can always ask an expert, but an expert can be wrong. So you ask another expert. If they agree, that might be enough to settle the question. But what if they disagree? What if it's a really important issue and you want more confirmation? You ask a third expert. You look for a consensus of expert opinion. Unless you're willing to get an advanced degree in every field of human knowledge, a consensus of expert opinion is your best bet. I know some of my conservative compadres will disagree with that because a large group of experts can be wrong. That's true, but a large group of experts is a lot more likely to be right than a large group of idiots. Conservatism is a cautious philosophy, and a thinking conservative goes for the safe bet. He goes with 4 out of 5 dentists. Did you ever notice that politicians can lie, steal, cheat, and adulterate and still get reelected? For some reason, too many of us keep trusting politicians even after they've proved to be untrustworthy. Modern science isn't that foolish. The only scientist that other scientists will trust is one whose work can be shown to correlate well with reality. That's because scientists build on the work of other scientists. If they're relying on fraudulent data, then their work is wasted. Science builds on established knowledge. If every chemist spent their time rechecking every aspect of basic chemistry, they'd never get around to advancing our knowledge. It's similar to the way a thinking conservative operates. We're cautious about new ideas, but once an idea has proven its value, we run with it. It becomes established conservative knowledge. That brings us to a piece of bad advice you might have heard. Question everything. That's sheer stupidity. If you spent your time questioning everything, you'd never get anything done and you'd never learn anything. Scientists, thinking conservatives, and other rational people follow different advice. Be prepared to question everything. Don't let that stop you from acting on established knowledge or the best data you have available. A lot of my conservative compadres these days tell me that they can't trust scientists because scientists will say anything for money. The problem is that accusation originates with politicians, talk radio entertainers, and corporate marketeers, 3 groups of people who make their living saying anything for money. Scientists have earned my trust through a record of accomplishment that's made my nation stronger and my life better. Question for my conservative compadres. What did those politicians, entertainers, and marketeers do to earn your trust?